Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. I'm Raffi, and as always, joined by Theodore. He's got the flow. The hair is covering the eyes. He looks like he's about to record a music album, or potentially he was just outside dancing in the rain. Davian's not here with us today. It's all good. We don't need to hear Roll Tide this week, so I think it works out for everyone. Theodore, how are you doing today? Aaron Judge just hit number 62 as we were recording
Yes.
October 4th, and trust me, as a college football fan, no one is shutting up about it. I don't when I'm watching a college football game, I don't want to listen and watch Aaron Judge back. If I wanted to do that, I would switch to ESPN too. But Theodore, how are you doing?
Fair point. Okay, three quick notes. First of all, I can't see myself in the camera, so I had no idea the hair was covering my eyes, but, it's probably really good luck, so I'm going to roll with it for now. Second of all, Davian supposedly is out because he has to fast for Yom Kippur. Let's just, he's pulling a Kyrie on us right now. I'm not sold, I think it's a little soft on his part.
I'd like to think it's dedication on his end of sticking with his religion and
Yeah, Elijah Wan played through fasting,
yeah, but
I
I
think
don't.
Davian
But the difference
isn't.
between Hakeem Olajuwon and Davian, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a gap between the two.
Nah, look, if he is a man that, wants my vote for president in 26 years, like, I don't know, I want to see that Hall of Fame level dedication and intensity, and I'm just not sure that Davian's built like that. I'm sorry.
People forget Barack Obama. Loki was a baller, so if there was any
True.
why he won. I mean, I guess it was that. But then again,
Maybe.
you look at like William Howard Taft and like that dude. I mean, he was literally he literally ate that KFC biscuit that people were talking about.
That was a good one.
That was
Okay,
a
third note though, before you take it away from me.
yeah.
Um, as a New York sports fan,
Oh
I
my.
don't think I have ever been happier in my life. I mean, Judge just hit 62. The Yankees are rolling. We're about to talk about them for their playoff hopes. The New York Football Giants are 3-1, and the Rangers are about to start, a season where they're Stanley Cup favorites. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Yeah, I mean, you just add a basketball team in there, and I'm sure they'd be doing well.
The
So
OKC Thunder are an honorary New York team, and trust me, they're going to have a fun season this year.
100%. Let's get into some of the smaller stuff, starting with some NFL stuff. So we're just going to talk briefly about this because, once again, as Theodore alluded to, we want to do a ton of MLB talk because the playoffs will begin Sunday, which is, by the time you guys are seeing this, probably like in a day or two. So you're closer to October than we are right now. Anyways, quick note, Javonte Williams, torn ACL, I believe. He's out for the season. Shame. He had a good start to the season. Everyone was expecting him to have a really big breakout year. Theo, any quick thoughts before we continue on?
Yes. As we know, I'm a retired sports card collector. Yeah, Javonte Williams was like the only current NFL player whose card I held. But I did it for a good reason. I think he truly is an extremely, extremely good player. And I really expect a great bounce back season, probably a comeback player of the year caliber season next year from him.
I think he certainly has the potential, and obviously with Melvin Gordon's fumble issues,
Mm-hmm.
the Broncos, who were already struggling on offense, I'm a bit more concerned now losing a guy like Javonte Williams. Also, other news that I want to touch on before we get to the big piece, which I'm sure everyone has already covered. Unfortunately, the way the podcast is recorded and published, we
Yeah.
missed it by a couple of days, but it's okay. First off, though, Kenny Pickett is now in for Mitch Trubisky. We don't know if he's going to be starting this upcoming week against the Buffalo Bills. I personally don't think that's a great idea because I feel like that Buffalo Bills defense will absolutely kill that man. But it was time for a change of scenery at the
Mm-hmm.
quarterback position. And honestly, as a Najee Harris owner, kind of benefits me right now.
Yeah, I was completely wrong on my Mitch Trubisky take preseason. I really thought that he'd be, possibly even a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and I don't know, either it just wasn't the right scheme fit, or he just, isn't a good quarterback. One of those two. I'm leaning towards the second
I
one.
think it's also the Steelers' offensive line. That's
Yeah,
all I've heard about. Their offensive line has just been terrible.
right.
And I don't think that's done any favors for Mitch Trubisky. But then again, you need a guy who can also move it with his legs. And Trubisky can provide that, but he's not going to be like, oh, like I'm shifty. I feel like low-key with how he's been playing in Seattle, Geno Smith would have been much better in the Steelers system than a guy like Mitch Trubisky. But Pickett's in. We don't know how long he's staying in there for, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on because it was just a matter because a lot of people that I've heard around the Steelers have already said, or like fans of the Steelers have said, that the Steelers are very stubborn. They don't like to make coaching changes at the end of the year. They don't like changing quarterbacks. They don't like changing much during the season. So Trubisky must have really fallen out of line for them to be putting in Pickett this early. Now to the big piece that unfortunately, once again, as I mentioned, we missed. Tua. He was clearly had an issue. It was called back spasms or just a back injury versus Buffalo where he fell. It looked like he was a little out of it. He got the wind knocked out of him. Could have been a concussion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not studying to be a doctor. I'm studying to be a chemical engineer, so I don't think I have the expertise to do that. Theodore, I don't think you're planning on becoming a doctor anytime soon. So we'll just take their word. But we do know now that the person who was the accredited doctor who was supposed to give their opinion as we get a surprise visit by Davian.
No way.
Hello, everyone. Hello,
Oh.
everyone. I've come to share exciting news. Aaron Judge has just hit his 62nd home run.
We were just talking about that earlier.
All right, I didn't know if you guys saw
Now
that.
I know how these college football fans feel.
Yeah, this is what I've been dealing with. If you were wondering, Raffi, what are you talking about? This is a great example, but we're happy that Davian's here. Hopefully he stays on for the rest of the show if he can.
Yeah, I'll stay on. Why not?
Okay,
But
I might have to retract my previous statement, guys. I may or may not have ran a smear campaign against Davian's integrity. We'll see how he does today. And maybe I'll
anyways,
take it back at the end of the show.
this has been a great introduction to Davian. But aside from that, we were just talking about Tua. Davian, any thoughts? We know that the private person who was in charge of the whole thing got fired by Miami.
Right.
Got fired by the NFL rather. Your thoughts on the Tua situation?
I made a TikTok about this. I think it's just, I think Tua should even consider retirement. Now, you might say, like, are you kidding me? It's like one concussion. Like, look at Brady and look at others. The guy got knocked out, like, pretty tough, too. Uh, like, to take on more hits like that and to potentially, end up with CTE in the later in your years, end up somebody like Antonio Brown or, uh, I just
One
feel
thing, Antonio
okay.
Brown was crazy before Devontae Burke.
Yes.
True,
Yeah.
The
true,
CTE
true.
may have ramped it up to like a. I'm not even going to talk about the AB situation because I don't want to even try to describe what happened.
Right.
And you guys look it up at your own discretion. Antonio Brown, I'm sure he'll show up. I'm not talking about it, but Antonio Brown had personality issues before he was even drafted. But continue
That's
on.
true. That's true. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's something that he should consider. Do I recommend it? No. I think that Tua has like 20 plus years that he could still play. But I think it's a sad situation. I don't think a lot of people are saying like, oh, look, the NFL doesn't care about player security. I think this is an issue that on the Dolphins and the Dolphins medical staff that just messed it up. It's like saying that the Chargers medical staff from last year who punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung and just blaming the whole entire NFL on that. I don't think it's their fault. I do blame the NFLPA a bit for not really, if you're gonna investigate, you gotta investigate within a week. All right, like the games go quick, so either investigate faster or say that Tua can't play for at least one game. Now for the NFLPA to say that, I think that would cause like ramifications and possibly like a contract dispute between the NFLPA and the NFL, and then what like maybe have a possible lockdown period. But point is that it's a sad situation, and I don't think that the NFL needs to really change anything. I think it's just that the teams need to look, these are players at the end of the day. These are people, not just players. That's
Trust
my
me,
Yes.
bias.
I love dogging the NFL. I really do. I really do think this came down to the guy, the doctor, the third party doctor, just not diagnosing this properly. People blaming Mike McDaniel. I don't get why. Like his job is to take the medical people's advice and take that into account when making decisions. Obviously, if you're going to talk to your player as well, if you're going to say, "Are you good to play?" They're obviously going to say yes as well. That's not to blame Tua at all, because again, like if I was like dinged up, I'd still be like, "Oh, coach, like I'm ready to go. Like I can do this. I want to help the team." But I do think it falls on this third party person who, to be fair, was appointed likely by the NFL or the Dolphins. So there's my little spite towards them. But I don't think there was. I personally think that most concussions that I've seen online, so online doctor right here, Davian, you're not becoming a doctor, I don't think so. I guess none of us are qualified to be doctors. That's okay. It's 7 to 10 days that you can expect for the concussion symptoms to like go away and like start to heal better. I don't know why if someone I don't know why it's like we're rushing players back so quickly as well. Like if a player the fact that Tua was playing on Thursday was just set up for disaster. But even had he played on Sunday, like there's a good case that can be made that he shouldn't have even played on Sunday if there was a concussion issue that he was having prior. So
Right.
personally, I think that if you get concussed, and obviously once again NFLPA, there's ramifications as David was alluding to. But I think if a player's concussed or shows concussion-like symptoms, they should sit out next week. They should be forced out because it's just not worth it at the end of the day.
I agree. I think, concussions, I don't think this is a debate that'll end anytime soon. We obviously see it just ramping up more and more with those, I believe they were the Guardian caps.
Yeah, with the very insulated.
Right. Like it's never a debate that's going to end. And I just think we will continue to see more and more of these trends, like possibly a rule like you just brought up, Raffi, with a player being forced to sit out. I'm not gonna. It's a tough situation for me to state one way or another. There's so much I don't know, and there's so much even the experts don't know. But it's just something has to be done, and something will be done. I'm sure at some point.
Yeah, I mean, once again, there has been so much progress that has been made, so that's a really positive thing. But there's still improvements that need to be made. But that's you can say that about really anything. So
Right.
hopefully the proper things are met. But at least the NFL has been open about this and hasn't tried to hide things under a rug, like one Mr. Dan Snyder or John Gruden or all that other stuff. Moving on, I thought we weren't going to hear this phrase, but we're going to talk some college football. And now that Davian's made his surprise reappearance, Davian, if you'd like to begin the college football segment with your phrase,
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
beautiful. Theodore, there's been a little bit of shakeup in
Yes.
the college football rankings. Kansas entering UCLA.
Yes.
TCU
The ultimate
embarrassing Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner blew right up. Syracuse, I know you're going to want to touch on Mississippi State. Cincinnati's back. LSU's in the top 25. There's been so much that has changed. Baylor fell out. I mean, it's just been pandemonium at the bottom. And at the top, Georgia is no longer number one. Kent State, I wrote them off for Kent State. I'm not writing them off for Mizzou. I do not like Alabama. I hate Notre Dame. I do not like Alabama. But you got to put Alabama or Ohio State at number one after. Georgia just has not looked like Georgia. And sure, it's 5 games in. There's plenty of time, but I'm just concerned that they might play like a team like Tennessee or a team like Florida. Never mind. If they play a team like Tennessee, they might struggle a little bit more.
I am just so intrigued by this season, Like, I really didn't think this race would be this tight, and I feel like the past 2 weeks have just done so much to make the season so much more exciting. First of all, the biggest surprise by far for me has been the ACC. These teams in the ACC are for real. I seriously think that Clemson, who I'm pretty sure all of us agreed were pretty overrated in the beginning of the year, like, look what they've done. They look incredible right now. NC State, another team I was low on, they're balling out. Florida State just took a loss, but they're solid. Wake Forest with Sam Hartman, I really like them. Syracuse is 5-0, which, as a New Yorker, I love to see.
And then there's Miami, my ACC pick. What a great, oh my goodness.
Yes. It's just like, you got to imagine that there are going to be some great games in this ACC. The Big Ten, it looks like we have 3 incredible teams there, although,
what? Are you forgetting about 4-1 Illinois?
No, I was leaving Ohio State out of that. You guys were one of them.
Thank you.
Note on the Big Ten West, though, Minnesota really disappointed me. I was expecting more from them.
See, but Ibrahim, it's not Ibrahim. You think it's Ibrahim, but it's Ibrahim. He was out for Minnesota, and that guy is literally like the heart of their offense. Yeah. So I'm willing to write it off. I need Minnesota to be ranked, so I can go to the game versus Minnesota and have an opportunity to run onto a football field. I need you to play better, Minnesota. I need you to get ranked. I need to run onto a football field. It needs to happen. But I think it's just shown in general. We really no.
One quick note on the Big Ten. One more thing.
Yeah.
Davian, wasn't Rutgers 3-0 at some point, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't want to talk about it. Theodore, I've been saying roll tide, right? I haven't been saying let's go Scarlet Knights. I've been saying roll tide, okay?
Davian officially getting full ride scholarship to University of Alabama to play football. Book it. But my one
Hey,
final
also the Wolverines, they don't look too bad. Just
because
say.
I really want to talk about the postseason coming up for the MLB.
Mhm.
Is I honestly think, aside from Alabama, I really don't think any team is a shoe-in yet. I don't, looking at this with how Georgia's been playing, and then with just how Michigan State and Penn State have looked really good, I can't
Mhm.
confidently say Ohio. I'd like to say Ohio State. If there was two teams that I had to say be the most confident, it'd be Alabama and Ohio State. The rest, though,
Ooh.
I mean, there's still potential for Ohio State to falter, but the rest of, like, I'd say 3 through like 7 have the potential, and then there's also like Tennessee. There's good potential for 2 one-loss teams to make it, and I'm intrigued to see who it is.
Okay, final thing before we move on from college football. Let's give credit to Mike Leach. None of these hardcore SEC gurus gave him a chance. The air raid is taking over the SEC, and now I'm waiting for him to rank the SEC mascots and how they'd perform in a battle royale, because I'm just waiting for some more of his personality to show, because college football is more fun when Mike Leach is coaching a good team, and I fully believe that.
People may have forgotten that Theodore did pick Mississippi State over Texas A&M, so
Yes.
that was a really good pick in a whole sea of really bad picks by people. So congratulations on getting one right. Maybe one day you'll be as good as college football takes as I am. We just ignore Miami. Miami doesn't exist. It's a figment of imagination. Moving on, MLB playoffs are coming soon, which means I actually am excited to watch baseball. I can confidently say that all the teams are locked in. We know who's in the playoffs. We don't know the bracket yet as we're recording October 4th. There's still some stuff that can change, so thus we're not going to be doing a bracket, which I think is good for everyone. I know you two are going to want to just shove Yankees propaganda down my throat, and I will give you a little bit of time to do it. But I just want to talk a little bit about some of the top teams who I think might be a contender, who might be a pretender. I mean, you look at a team like the Braves, won it last year. I think they're looking really sharp. They're 7-3 over the last 10. They've been really hot down the stretch. I like them a lot. Obviously, everyone's least favorite team, the Astros. That's another team where they have the potential with their pitching. They have really good pitching, very deep. And we do know that in the past, to win the World Series, you need to be really good with your pitching and in your bullpen. Obviously, you also have the New York Yankees, America's least favorite team, whereas some of you guys would like to say America's favorite team. You guys can touch on them in a little bit. Then obviously you have some underrated teams like the Rays, the Jays. Guardians, I'm mad about. I still don't like their name change. Then you also have, moving to the NL again, like the San Diego Padres, but I don't think Tatis is going to be playing for them. So, boys, there's a bunch of teams. Who you guys liking so far?
Yes.
A bit deeper.
Okay,
Also,
first of all,
Mariners, we have some history too. Mariners' first time in, I believe, 20 or 21 years, they had made the postseason. Last time was 2001, and I think the Phillies. This is their first postseason in like 10 years. So some history being made. Theodore.
okay, first of all, National League, because I think my American League pick will be pretty boring. National League, I'm riding high on the St. Louis Cardinals right now. Pujols continues to impress. I think he's got one last run in him. They've got, I'd say, 2 of the top 5 players in the NL. I just really think that they're built for a deep postseason run. And gut feeling coming out of all this is that the Los Angeles Dodgers will fall somewhere in this playoffs. I don't know. I get these gut feelings sometimes. I really don't feel good about LA this year.
See, their pitching, Craig Kimbrell, I've heard, has just been really rough down the stretch for the Dodgers, so that's obviously a cause for concern if their pitching can hold up. But I mean, you still got the bats though, and I think that's also like obviously pitching. I will always say that pitching is super important to win a championship. But I think the Dodgers have the ability as well to out hit their problems sometimes. So if they're able to do that, that's great. But then again, does that tire you out? Is there fatigue? That's something else I'm concerned about. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see a team like the Braves, Cardinals, or Mets potentially sneak in there.
Not the Mets. Not the Mets. Look at the way
No.
the Mets collapsed. This
Okay,
is a
well,
classic Mets
I
collapse.
think they come back in the playoffs, though.
No.
I think
All right, let me hop in
I
real
think the
quick.
Mets can put up a fight. I don't think the Mets are. If I had to
I
say,
don't think the Mets should be discounted. I do like the Cardinals as well. I do think Pujols has a good shot. I think the Dodgers. I think they go out in the second round. I feel like
I think
that.
the Dodgers always just have a really good chance though to win it all.
Now, I really like the way both Atlanta or St. Louis would match up against them in an NLCS matchup.
I just think St. Louis has all the right pieces. Honestly,
Yeah.
they're just a deep team, and they
Right.
again, as you alluded to, Pujols is obviously like kind of a dog. I still lean towards the Dodgers just because they're the Dodgers. I mean, obviously, if I had to pick another team, it'd probably either be the Braves or the Cardinals. Mets are gonna Mets at some point. They're currently metting right now all over and giving the Braves the bye. As we know now, it's 6 teams now make the playoffs in each league, which is great. I really like that personally.
Absolutely.
So the top three, I believe, get buys. The division winners get buys, and then the next, or I think it's the top. Is it top three? No, sorry. The
Top two get buys.
Top two get buys, and then there's some wild card games to determine the rest of the seeding. And right now, I feel like the Mets just give me a vibe of blowing it. They're the Mets. They're the Mets. Mets going all the way this time. No, they're not. Moving over to the AL, and then we'll get into some broader predictions in the postseason. Obviously, you have the Rays. Rays are very underrated. They haven't looked great, and again, they were currently on a 3-game losing streak and 3-7, and that's obviously not good. But I think the Rays are they're always just one of those teams that's just in it, and it doesn't matter how good they are or how they're doing down the stretch. I just think if the Rays are in, they have a chance. I don't think that this is their year, but I think that what they show every year of you don't need to pay the big bucks in order to field a really good team is also just something very positive. Although they started to dish out some more money as time goes on.
I would argue, Raffi, that they might be the best ran team in professional sports.
I could put 100 them or the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are run amazing, but then
gotta
put
the
I guess it's just Tampa Bay. I guess it's just Tampa Bay sports teams that just do a great job running their team.
Yeah.
At least as long as you trade Jameis Winston away, then I guess overall, yes.
Yeah,
and
landing Tom Brady usually helps.
Yes, Toronto Blue Jays, they're just a sleeper team. I think they've been
No.
really. I feel like they've been really. Yeah. I follow like Sportsnet and stuff. They've been very hyped up by the Canadian media, and I feel like there's some reason for that. But I personally just think that they're.
I think I was spot on with them in the beginning of the year. I think everyone said, they were like everyone's trendy, World Series pick. And I just didn't see anything special there, and I still don't. I think that they'll have a really, really tough time getting out of the first round, and I think that they'll be pretty easy for either Houston or the Yankees to handle.
I agree.
Moving on further, obviously, you have the Guardians. I don't think that they're going to really do it. They have some bats, but yeah.
I think they have a chance. I wouldn't discount them.
Okay,
it's like the Mets. Like I wouldn't discount
any team. You just need to make the playoffs to have a chance. But I don't think that
I'm with you. I think that okay. I think if anyone's going to challenge New York or Houston, because first of all, I think we're basically destined for them to meet in the ALCS. But if anyone's going to challenge, it's probably going to be Tampa. Maybe Seattle gives one of them a fight if Rodriguez lights on fire.
He has been. Who's our underdog? Who's our like ultimate underdog?
Seattle, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Seattle is a very young and fun team. I vibe with them a lot. I think that this is just I've said this before. I said this with the New York Rangers. I've said this with just teams in general. Teams that are really young and making the playoffs for like the first time, you're gonna go through some pain. It's very rare where a team full of young guys can just go all the way and win the championship. It's happened before. I think the Seattle Mariners are a team that's finally on the upswing for once, which is crazy because for my entire lifetime, they didn't make the playoffs in my entire life until now.
Right.
So I'm not that much older than you two, but just want to put that out there as well, just to show how long it's been. I'm a full grown, not a full grown, but you get the point. But the Mariners need to go through some playoff pain, some more pain, unfortunately, but in the postseason this time, so it's a bit better for the fans before they really take that next step to be a true contender. But I'm just, if I had to choose a sleeper, I have to go Tampa Bay, just the Rays. I just think they're always a good sleeper team to pick.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely see that.
And then over on the NL, I think we kind of just broke it down already, but I think it's a bit more open. I agree with you, Theodore. I think the AL is just bound to be Yankees Astros, meaning in the ALCS. The NL, I think it's just we could see the Braves versus the Dodgers. I think that'd be a really good series as a whole because I just think the Braves just you have the defending champs versus the Dodgers who recently won it a couple years back. But again, I mean, sleeper team probably St. Louis Cardinals. Honestly, out of the teams that I don't even know if that's a sleeper though.
Yeah, I think they
it's not
should
much
be
of a
viewed as a front runner to win this World Series. I think the talent on this roster is undeniable, and they have experience.
Davian,
I'm
any
very
thoughts
high on St. Louis.
on the NL?
Don't discount the Mets. I think
Yes,
trumpet
discount them.
pitcher man is gonna do great in the playoffs.
It is, yeah.
But also it's New York. The environment in New York, whenever it's playoff time, becomes a bit toxic.
A bit.
So
Just a bit.
just a teeny tiny bit. So expectations are always extremely high. That puts pressure on these players. For the Yankees, they've been here so many times. The Mets, not as much. It's new management. Uh, for the first, right? Isn't this Steve Cohen's first time with the Mets in the
I think
playoffs?
Yes, it is. In
Okay,
the
yeah.
playoffs.
So, right, it's like new ownership, new management, like in the playoffs. Of course, I think they're gonna have like Raffi with what you were saying with the Mariners, kind of like those like first year jitters. Kind of, I always allude to this in the NFL as well. I think it goes really across all sports, and it's especially pretty big in the just teeny bit of a toxic environment that New York City is during playoff runs for these teams.
absolutely. So looking at it as a whole, we'll go through our predictions and any other stuff that we want to talk about. Currently in the AL, the way things look, obviously we don't know the bracket, so this might be a little bit off. But I personally have the Houston Astros taking on likely the Tampa Bay Rays. I just don't like the Yankees.
Nah,
That's it.
Ralph. You're
That's
just
it.
a hater. You're
I
just a hater, Ralph.
He's a hater.
I am a hater. I 100% am, and I just think that teams are going to look to avoid Aaron Judge in the postseason, and I don't know if the rest of the Yankees can step up to the plate, quite literally, and hit some dingers. So the Yankees are a good team. I will acknowledge that, but I just think that the New York Yankees are going to Toronto Maple Leafs it up and continue their lack of a World Series.
My man's just compared the Yankees to Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
Okay,
come
the
on.
Yankees have been a bit better though. The Yankees have been a bit better because
Bit okay.
at least they made it out of round one. There's a little Maple Leafs dagger right there. Next week, talk about hockey. Get ready for that one. There's gonna be plenty of Maple Leaf slander there. But yeah, you guys want to talk about your AL? Also, I guess I have the Astros winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Of course he did. Of course he does. He's wearing orange.
yeah. I got the Yankees Mets
Oh, wow.
Subway Series
You have the Yankees
Turn
versus
up,
the
Davian.
Mets. My
Come on,
goodness.
man.
in the finals. All right, in of course in the AL championships, I got the Yankees and Astros in the NL finals or NLCS, whatever you want to call it. I got
This is a professional sports podcast.
okay,
Please.
okay, Rob. Okay. In the
Maybe we
NLCS,
should have just kept him off.
I got the Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, or the LA Dodgers, depending like however the brackets fall. Um, and yeah, I got Subway Series, which is gonna be extremely exciting.
That would be exciting if it happened. I just don't see it happening. I think the Mets, yeah, maybe they got by San Diego. That's another team I'm really low on. I just don't see much. I just don't see them going that far. I like the Cardinals to come out of the NL. I think that a series versus Atlanta would be some of the best television we've gotten in a while from Major League Baseball. I would be super excited to watch that, especially if there's Astros Yankees going on a series later in the ALCS. I just think there are a lot of really fun matchups to be had here. Astros Yankees scares me. We obviously kind of have been owned by the Astros, as of the past 5 years. If there's any year for that to change, now's the time. But like you said, Raffi, I think teams will be pitching around Aaron Judge, and for good reason too. I mean, look what he does whenever you pitched him.
Absolutely. Did anyone tell you guys that Aaron Judge hit a 60-second home run during this right before this podcast? I don't know if anyone mentioned that. Just want to throw it out there.
I haven't watched any college football lately. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a shame. Wouldn't it be nice if during college football games, whenever Aaron Judge is batting, they were to cut to that as well, so we could watch Aaron Judge's greatness. Anyways,
hey, look, they did that like during football, like when during preseason games and the Olympics was on, the Ravens would cut to Michael Phelps swimming. So I mean,
but Michael Phelps is like it. You have the pride of being American. The Yankees. Outside of
the Yankees are
nobody
America.
likes
It is
the
an
Yankees.
American symbol.
You sound
Aaron Judge
Theodore,
is the symbol of America. Aaron Judge is the symbol of America. Okay.
Yes.
You see Tom Brady. Now he's getting a divorce, so now it's Aaron Judge. Okay.
Theodore, I don't want to be that guy. You are acting like a Cowboys fan. Moving to the NL, my prediction.
That one hurts.
Well, you see, but the
I have
Aaron
the
Judge
Braves,
is actually
Dodgers.
that caliber.
I'm gonna say screw it. I'm going Braves, and I think honestly in the World Series, I'm gonna take the Houston Astros winning the World Series. Once again, adding more salt to the New York wound. I do have to say, if it's a crosstown between the Yankees and the Mets, I will say if the Yankees win, the city will burn to the ground, and the Mets win, the city will burn to the ground. So your city's getting burned to the ground regardless, which might be an improvement with how New York looks. But
it can't get much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York.
Man, New York is a disaster right now.
Theodore, did you give your pick? I know it's the Yankees.
It's the Yankees, yeah. Well, it's actually the Chicago White Sox who were, my preseason pick.
This is the crosstown. Yeah, White Sox versus Cubs. Book it.
Man, I don't know what happened to them. They had a new manager next year. Maybe they'll turn it around. The Yankees, though, all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That will conclude this episode of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. We were all over the map: college football, NFL, baseball. We can't wait for the MLB postseason. It's finally October, so that's just great. Loving the weather here in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, as I like to call it. Slowly getting closer and closer to apple cider donut season. Theodore, I know that you're excited about that as well.
Yeah.
I personally can't.
I had one the other day. It was actually pretty busting.
Next week we'll probably do some hockey talk, so you're not going to want to miss that, along with some apple cider donut talk as well.
I'll bring a donut on the show next week.
No, how dare you? But anyways,
you call me a Cowboys fan. That's what you get.
I guess it is what I get. But anyways, that will do it for this episode of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know who you think is going to win the MLB World Series. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. I posted a YouTube short. I believe it was a day or two from this recording, so definitely want to check that out. I think it's my Central Division preview. Might get some more hockey stuff up in the next few days, and I'm sure we'll get some other sports stuff onto the YouTube channel as well.
Also, remember we're TikTok celebrities now.
Oh, we are. We are
TikTok celebrities. We hit a TikTok over 70,000, which is amazing. That is crazy to think about because that's like
total likes too.
How many times 70? Real quick, I'm gonna do a calculation. We could have filled the Arizona Coyotes College Stadium 14 times with the amount of people who viewed that video, which is just crazy to think about.
We also surpassed the Oakland A's attendance for the whole season.
Exactly. So it's
total.
Although that's not
all games.
But we hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, check us out on TikTok, Benchwarmer_sports. Follow us on there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your day. And above all else, Yankees are not winning the World Series this year. Thank you.
Peace.
Don't give him a piece for that, Davian. Come on.